Good morning, dear students. How are you all? How is
We
the
are good,
new
ma'am.
how is the new semester? Anyway, like last semester, this sem also, even though entire thing will may be online, but anyway, final exam will be there. Okay, so at least now onwards, please concentrate for the final exam point of view. What is required now already you are familiar, so you can concentrate in that way. Hmm? So, welcome to our design and analysis of algorithm lab. Uh, data structure lab, this is also a fundamental lab for the computer science engineer. So, you can see in the syllabus, like all other labs, what we were already familiar. In the same way, 40 marks will be taken for the from the internal exam, and 60 marks will be from the external exam. In that 40 marks itself, like last time what we were having one internal test at the end, so that internal test will give you 10 marks, and other other marks will be, the other 30 marks will be taken from the continuous evaluation. So in that, always as usual, it will include the submission of your all assignments, and also we will be having viva after each and every experiment. Now it is not like last time, it is batch wise. Only 2022 students are there, so we can orally ask viva also, or sometimes we will conduct quiz. So based on that, we will give the viva marks. And in between, all of you, I think all of you have laptop or any other way for executing the program, because already this is the third semester you are continuing with online. I hope so. Everyone is having some or other way of executing the programs what you were having. So we will ask randomly to project your screen to know what is happening. So already the lab is nearly 2 hour 40 minutes. So we were having time for all those things. And based on that, actually the procedure or execution marks will also be credited. So that's all about the internal marks distribution. Like last time, what is happened in the almost similar type things will happen here also. I think you are clear. Out of 40 marks, the internal, that is through the continuous evaluation. In that 40 marks, 10 marks for the final internal test, which will be conducting at the end of the semester, and the remaining 30 marks for the continuous evaluation, which will include the program execution plus viva. Then coming into the course objective, you can see what is the major course objective of this course. That means why you need to study this course. The design and implement the various algorithms in Java. So that is one thing. So actually speaking, the first few set of programs will be directly taken from Java. So actually it is an introduction for Java for all of you. How many of you have studied Java in the previous class, in the previous anywhere? Means maybe like a MOOC course you have done, or you have studied in your PUC or something like that. If if you are already familiar with Java, just write +1 in the chat box. It means either no one has studied or everyone is sleeping. Okay. So this is actually design. So first one is the first set of programs I will show when I am going through the program set. The first set of programs is just for the introduction to the Java. How can you write a simple programs in Java? That is what the first objective of this lab. And the second objective, we will be discussing about different design and analysis strategies, like uh, in the theory, we will be discussing about divide and conquer strategy, greedy strategy, and dynamic programming strategy, as well as the branch and bound strategy. So those algorithm design techniques we will be trying to implement in standard problems. and then measure and compare the performance of different algorithm. So if you are having multiple algorithms, usually the analysis of algorithm will be happen in terms of two parameters like time and space. So that analysis will also be happen as the part of this lab. So these are the three major objectives for the lab. So now coming into the programs, you can see the first three programs. First one is create a Java class. You can see that one. So the first three programs will be having part A and B, and that was completely based on the Java programs. So it was just giving you an idea about how can you write a Java program, and most basic features of Java we were trying to explain in the first three programs. Actually, it will be coming directly as a part of your OOC course current semester. You are having an OOC class, that is object oriented concepts. So that was completely about Java programming language. So the first three programs with the part A and B divisions, which will be discussing only about Java. And coming into the fourth program onwards, actually the dark concepts are coming. So theory we will be discussing all these things, the different sorting techniques with different uh, analysis algorithm design strategies. So like that, as usual, we will be having 12 programs. So that 12 programs will be just discussing about the different strategies of solving a problem, and by using different algorithm design techniques. All those things we will be, the theory part will be discussing in the DA theory class, and its implementation we are doing in the lab. This is what the plan of this syllabus. The syllabus are set in such a way. So at the end, what is the laboratory outcome of the course? So design an algorithm using appropriate design technique. So as I mentioned you, different algorithm design techniques are there that in each module we will discuss. So you can design algorithms using appropriate design techniques and implement a variety of algorithms such as sorting, graph related, combinatorial, etc. in a high level language. So such type of different set of problems we are discussing and trying to implement, and analyze and compare the performance of algorithm using language features. So how can you measure the time, or how can you measure the space requirement of a particular algorithm by using the language features? So that is what the final outcome you will be getting from the lab. Okay, this is all about the basic things. If you want any clarification regarding anything, the mark distribution or any of the program what I have mentioned, if you have any doubt, you can ask me. Otherwise, we will just start with the Java basics. Okay. So in the last semester, in the last semester, we have discussed about a C programming language, and you have studied about the C programming in the CPL lab as well as in the uh, data structure lab. So, how the Java is different from C programming language? So, the first property of Java is different from C programming language is it is platform independent. It is platform independent. What is meant by platform independency? How many of you are listening? In between, I will ask you a question because this is the most basic class. Even if the other classes you miss also, this will be giving you an idea about what is there in Java. Okay. So please attend the class almost 1 hour, more than 1 hour I will discuss. Please, if you want to eat something, you take something and be Anyway, I am not asking you to project the screen or turn on the camera. So, but I am expecting that all of you should listen the class properly. So this is the most basic fundamental regarding Java. So the first property of Java is what I was telling is it is like platform independency. So what is meant by platform independent? Platform independent means if a C programming you are writing, already it is a higher level programming language. It can run on any of the operating system he was mentioning. So how can Java can do the same? So see based on that the compiler will be converting it into the machine compatible format. So when it comes to Java, actually what Java is doing is Java will be having a file. In C, we will be having a file with a .c extension. Similarly, Java, we will be having a file with a .java extension. That will be compiling and you are getting a .class file, a .class file, which is also called as bytecode, which is also called as bytecode or also calling the same thing as intermediate code. So this intermediate code is actually platform independent. This .class file is actually a platform independent one. So what we were doing is this .class file you can transfer it to any of the operating system. So this .class file can convert into the machine understandable format like zeros and one by a JVM. So this code is actually independent of the platform. That's why Java is called as a platform independent language. Otherwise, if it is a C program, the compiler will be varying based on what type of operating system you are varying. So here, this is the major property of platform independency. And the second property of Java is it is purely object-oriented language. Purely object-oriented language. So what is meant by object-oriented language? So till now, excuse me. Till now, whatever the programming language you have studied is all called as procedure-oriented language or it is also called as a function-oriented language. So if it is a procedure-oriented language or function-oriented language, all the task, whenever a repeated task is coming, we are writing a function corresponding to that and then we are calling that function for doing the task. But here, everything, whatever you are doing in Java is based on the object. What is meant by an object? So that we will see later. But as of now, you know that object is just telling like the Java is all the operations we are not doing not in terms of functions. It is doing in terms of object. Object-oriented programming language support multiple features also. I am not explaining any of this, but I am just telling you what is the properties of object oriented programming. These all things in your OOC class in detail you will study. So from there you can get to know what is exactly needed to explain this concept. But what I want to try to tell is what is required for our lab. I am trying to explain you. So encapsulation and polymorphism and inheritance and multi-threading. Okay, like that multiple properties are there. In that we are actually discussing about inheritance and multi-threading in program number 2 and program number 3 respectively. Okay, so but again more than first property point I was want to tell is the Java is purely an object oriented language. So means every operations in Java is done doing in terms of objects. Other than that, as it is an object oriented language, it is supporting the multiple object oriented language features like encapsulation, polymorphism, inheritance, multi-threading, abstract abstraction, like that multiple properties are there. These are few of them I have just listed out. So as of now, you know that it is has some extra property than C programming language, and one is the platform independency, and the Java file name extension is with .java. These are the points I was trying to tell from this slide. And then the code, intermediate code is generated, is called as a class file, and that will make the Java as a platform independent. And first of all, it is a purely object-oriented language. So means entire operations will be happening in terms of objects. And also, as it is an object-oriented language, it is supporting the object-oriented features. Now look into this code. This is an example which was showing you a bank account number details. So this is an example of unstructured data. Why I am calling it as unstructured? Just look into the code and tell me what is the operation is happening in this one. Sachin,
Yes,
Look
ma'am.
at. Tell me what is happening in this code.
First, we are initializing account number and balance.
Hmm.
Then we are
So,
adding some amount to account balance
hmm,
and printing the account number and balance. After
hmm,
that, we are subtracting some amount from the account balance. Then again, we are printing.
ah, hmm,
And again, we are subtracting some amount from account balance and again printing.
hmm,
So in C, we do this step by step.
hmm. Okay, you are right, Sachin. So it is like account number and balance are two variables. After the account balance has updated, those details like account number and balance are printing. Again, one more updation is happening for the account balance. Again, we are printing the same information like account number and account balance. And again, one more updation happened for the account balance. After that, again, the same details we are printing. This is an example. This code has written purely in C programming language, and we can see that the actions what we were having in the code, like this part, this is a repeating task, and multiple times the same action was happening. Still, we were writing code for that. How can we do the same work without repeating the code? What is the way we can reduce this code size in C programming language? If a repeated task I want to do multiple times, what's the way I can handle it in C? I didn't hear anything. If I want to do a similar task multiple times in C, instead of writing multiple times, how can I reduce the length of the code? Iteration or loops is possible. See, iteration or loops is possible, but just to print the same message, like, very good. Satvik was telling like it is a function. See, uh, yeah, iteration is possible, but account number where you will update, whether it is inside the looping structure, then all the time the same account balance updation should happen. But in our case, the account balance is updating in the initial case adding 100, and the second time it is reducing 50, and third time it is reducing 10. So if all the time 100 rupees is increasing in account balance, then I can write it the same three operations or same three steps inside the function, inside the looping structure. But here the account balance is updating in multiple way. So I can directly go for a function. So you do this. So what I did is Instead of writing those two statements separately, instead of writing these two statements separately, what we were doing is we have write a function called the show data. So whenever I want to print these two information, what I am doing, I am calling the function show data so that the account number and account balance will be printing. Okay, so this was the first improvement has happened for C programming language. We have introduced the function concept into the C. Then here when we are looking, you can see few actions or few part we can call it as the data involved in the operation, and the other one is the actions corresponding for that particular data updation. So you can see which all are the things will be including in the data. In the data actually it is included the account number as well as the account balance. When it comes to the action, what is the action is happening? Displaying the balance. So that is the action is happening. It is called as a function. So show data is the action which was happening after every updation of the account number. Okay. So if you are looking into the code, you find out that these are the data present like account number and account balance. And this is the action performing on the data, showing the data that was the function or action performing in the data. Now actually we are coming into the, this is purely what I was trying to explain is only the Java. Now I am trying to tell the term what is meant by object. So you can see this is a dog we were having, and that is actually we will be calling it as an object. Similarly, you can write a pen is an object, a laptop is an object. So in the normal scenario, what is an object? That directly I can tell it is a real-time entity. It is a real-time entity. It is a real-time entity. That may be anything. Even you can consider it as keyboard is an object, or what you yourself is an object, or whatever you are seeing. A table is an object, a chair is an object. Or so in a normal scenario, what is meant by an object? The same meaning here also. Object is indicating like a real-time entity which was having actual existence. So now what we are trying to do, the same thing we are trying to do it in a software object. So how can you create a software object from the real-time existing object, or from the real-time entity? How can I create a software object? So again, the meaning of object is same. It is a real-time entity that I am trying to represent. So a dog or a table or a chair or a curtain or a laptop or your mobile phone, whatever it is. So that object I am trying to represent through program. That is my intention in object-oriented programming. So now you can see three different types of dogs. How can I distinguish the three different types of dogs? What all are the properties or features or properties I can use to distinguish these three different types of dog? You please mention me what all are the things I can consider to distinguish these three type of dogs. Yes, Sanjana was mentioning like it is species and color. Okay, breed and color. Okay, two pro points they are mentioning like breed and then color and anything else. Maybe I can keep a size also or something else. Weight or age or shape of the ear. Okay, like that I can find out a certain set of features so that I can distinguish these three different types of dogs. Okay. So now you look into the diagram. It was directly using the four variables, whichever we have listed so many. So you can take any four or whatever it is. Simply for properties what we have used was just trying to distinguish, that is, one is breed and second one is size and age and color. So we are assuming that with these four properties or with these four data parts, I can distinguish these three dogs each other. So that was my intention, which I can tell like a few properties on the object, and also I should make sure that with that properties I can distinguish each and every object in the list. Okay. So this is the data part involved in the class. Actually, when we are coming into the class concept, it contains, like in the previous slide, what I have mentioned, it contains a data part as well as the action performing on that. So this was the intention for us also, to find out what all are the data parts involved in that and what all are the actions involving in this. So here actually we were trying to find out the data which will be distinguishing the different types of dogs. You have already mentioned like breed, size, age and color are the properties which we can use, and based on that you can distinguish these three different types of dogs. Now, what are the common actions? When we are trying to find out the actions, we have to make sure that these actions should be common for all the objects of that particular category. So, what are the things the dog can do? It can eat. All the dogs will be eating, sleeping, sitting, running, barking. So, all those operations are, our actions are done by all the objects. So that are included in the action plan. That are included in the action part of the class. So the actions also we have identified. In the same way, same time we have find out the which all are the properties we can use to distinguish these three different types of dogs. Now actually the class is coming. So before going to that, I will just trying to tell you what is a class. You have here the term like class and object, which is related to the Java programming language. And class is what is trying to tell it. Class is actually, it is a user defined data type. User defined data type which contains which contains data member variables, data member variables and data member functions. Data member functions. So what is meant by that? Every class is containing a set of variables or data members which will be make sure that the data within if for example you consider the dog as a class. So when you considering dog as a class, we have a set of data values like what you are mentioning like breed and then the size and some more. Okay. So these are the data points I can use to distinguish different types of dogs. In the similar way, when we are considering data member variables, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this is the data part which we can use to distinguish different dogs. Actually, I want to represent each and every dog in the those three dogs I want to represent. So I am just creating a template which will be having a data part for distinguishing different types of dogs and an action part there. That action part can perform by all the dogs, though all the three dogs can do the action. So this is actually creating a template telling like represent any dog, and any dog can do all these actions what is common for all the dogs can do. And also based on the value which is assigning to this data variables, the type one type of dog also will be vary. So the type of dog, I think presentation I should do again, just wait. Okay, so actually class is like it contains a data member variables like a data part and a function part, or also called it as an action part. So it is like one more, that is one part. So it is just giving you a template for distinguish for making a dog. For all the dog the same class I can use based on what is the value assigning to this data variables, the type of the dog will vary. And what is the action I can do? Action will be common for all the dogs, and only this data member variable part will be differ. Based on that, what is the type of the dog will be deciding. And all together, this will be representing a dog class. So that's why it is called as an actual entity whenever that is an actual entity. One more point regarding class is a user defined data type it is. So what is a user defined data type? Already we have studied about some of the user defined data type in our C programming. Which all are the user defined data type you have studied? Did you study any user defined data type in your C programming?
Structures.
Structures and unions we have studied. Similar case here also, what was the need of the structure variable? What was the need of the structure variable?
Collection of heterogeneous data.
Collection of heterogeneous data types you can combine in the structure. But in the similar case here also, you can see in the structure we were having different data types. I am not writing the entire syntax. So maybe an integer or character together will be coming as a single unit. And when it comes to class, actually again it is having a set of data parts like maybe an integer and a character or something else or a string, whatever it is. and plus a set of actions, like few more set of functions also is included in that. All together is making a class, but structure was having only different data types, and this part was there, but actions or function part was missing in structure. So in the class, actually we have included that part also. Now the same explanation as dog is a class we were having, that is just for representing all the dog, all type of dogs, and then it will be having a data part, and that will be representing what is the type exactly which dog you want to tell. That will be based on what is the value you are assigning to the breed, size, age and color. And actions, as I mentioned, it is common for all the dogs can do. So that are the actions which was included as a function or methods. The function will also called in Java as methods. So in Java, the method is representing like a function in C program. So now you see, as I mentioned you, only the data parts will be varying based on the type of the object. Then this is the real-time objects we were having. The black dog and white dog and this brown dog. These are the three dogs we were having, and based on these properties we are trying to distinguish the dogs, like the breed of the dog and then the size of the dog and age of the dog and color. Based on that we have divided these three objects. These are the real time things, so this is called as the object. This is the object we are having, and the template which is required for this object is also called as a class. Okay, this is the class which was mentioning, like based on these four properties I can create different real-time entities, and each of it have its own properties. If you have any doubt regarding the concept of class and object, please ask me. Till now, regarding syntax, I didn't explain even single word also. I was just trying to explain you the concept of class and object. Okay? Anybody has any doubt? Are you clear with what is a class and what is an object? All of you please respond in the chat box. Okay, fine. Next is, actually we are coming into the syntax. So now the syntax part I am discussing. First we will, all programs we will be starting with welcome message. So okay, welcome world will write here also. Hello world will write here also. So first, as I mentioned you, everything will be object oriented. So you need a template. So we are starting with a class. Class, this is the syntax, and this class is a keyword. Class is a keyword. Already you have studied about some more keywords in your C programming, like int, all the data types. And tell me few more keywords you have studied. Break, if, while, switch, continue. Like that you have studied different event struct, different keywords. So it is a reserved words. So in the same case, Java also has a set of keywords, and class is one of the keyword. It is just for creating a class. Class is the keyword. And one more thing regarding Java is a case sensitive language. Java is a case sensitive language. So case sensitive is mentioning like if you write capital and small letter difference is there, means it will show us an error. So by convention in Java, all the keywords, what you are using in C, most all keywords are actually present in Java also. Okay. So Other than that, some extra keywords are also there. Class is one of that, but all the keywords in Java will be having small letters as its type. So class, CLASS, class is a small keyword which is all small letters. After that, the class name you can write. So as you mentioned, I am just writing a welcome message first. So welcome, then the class opening bracket and class closing bracket. This is the first thing. As I mentioned you, everything should be inside the class other than the header files and package. What is it? I will tell you later. Now you just think all things you have to write inside the class. So this is a class. And as you know, all programs start executing from where? In C programming, from where your class start executed? Sorry, which from which function the program execution starts? Main. So here also you need a main for starting your program execution. So I am just writing the main. The syntax of main is little different, not like your C programming. So it is like public static void main. Then inside that you need to write a string array, functional bracket closing. Then this is a main function. So functional bracket opening and closing. So the curly bracket open, this is the main content. Inside that you can write. Okay. So now you see what is the name of the function? Main is the name of the function and void is by default, what is it? What is void? Very good. Return type.
Return type.
So that is the return type. And string args is the input parameter for the main. And other than that, you are just telling like two more properties, public and static, that need a lot of explanation. But for general aspect, actually you will be having different access specifiers discussion in your first module itself. Public, private, protected in the OOC class. As I am telling now, whatever in the class means it is only about OOC class, not about the DA class. DA programs will start only from the fourth program. So public is public, protected or private are the access specifiers in Java. The public is mentioning like from anywhere you can access this main. So that is the general way. If I am telling more precisely inside the class or inside the package, that details you will study in later. So now I am just telling you public means from outside you can access this function. Then static, what is meant by this static? Again, you will, when you are studying about you will study about static variables and static functions. And so this is, as this is a function, you can tell like this is a static function definition. So when you are writing a static function, it means that there is, for calling a function, usually we need objects. For example, I am just calling the run function of the dog. I don't know which dog is running. I don't know which dog is running. So if I am just writing o1 dot run, o1 is representing my object 1, that is that black dog. I am just creating an object called o1. It is just representing an that black dog. Then o1 dot run is indicating like the black dog is running. If in other case I am just writing o2 dot run, what is it indicating? O2 is representing that second white dog. So it is me telling like, okay, now the running is happening, but who is running? I should tell that with the help of objects we are calling. So like structure, we can access the variables as well as the function, or data part as well as the function using dot operator here also. So you can tell O2 dot run is indicating like, okay, that white dog is running now. So, but in the case of main, actually I should not bind this main function to any of the object. So without creating the object also, I should able to call, I can able to call this main function. That is why we are keeping it as a static. So what is meant by static is usually all functions will be associated with one object. For example, run or eat, whatever the functions we have written there, all is associated with one single object. So with respect to O2, we will have all the functions. Similarly, with respect to O1, that is for the black dog also, we will have all the functions. But if a function which will be common for all this object, then in that case you can keep it as a static function, so that without mentioning the object name itself I can call that function. Without mentioning or creating the object name itself I can call the function. That is the use of this static. So this is the syntax you need to remember, or you need to by heart, or you need, I have tried to explain it what is it. And regarding the string argus, it is actually a command line argument. Command line argument. In C also you are having this. I don't know whether you have studied this or not. Usually people will be neglecting this part. So this is the command line argument. Uh, by default, main in Java is accepting a string array. This is just indicating a string array. Array name is A. This variable name you can give anything. This is just an array which is indicating a string. And similar to that, one more point regarding comparison with C. In C, we are storing everything characters, or a name if you want to store, you are using character array. But in Java, you were having a data type called string that can replace your character array. So string itself is a data type in Java, so that you can use string for storing a string value. Okay. Now the welcome message I have to write. What is the statement we were using? Means, for example, I want to print a hi. So for that, what is the statement we were using in C? Which was the statement we were using in C for printing a message? Which function we were calling? Printf. Here instead of printf, we are using a function called system dot out dot print ln. System dot out dot println. Inside that, in double quotes, you can write what is the message you want to write. And again, like syntax is following C programming, every statement should end up with a semicolon. So system dot out dot println is just mentioning you again, system is what, out is what, println is what you will study in C in your OOC class. Just for our understanding, I am just telling you, system dot out is indicating what? A standard output device. Which is the standard output device and which is the standard input device? Which is the standard input device? Who taught you computer organization? So keyboard. So in the same way, so standard output device is the monitor or the terminal, whatever you are having. So that is just trying to tell you, to the standard output device, you can print the message which was given over here. So this is the first program you were having. So once again, I will tell, class is a single. So by default, this will be the system.out.println will be coming by from the actually Java package. This is package. You may be not familiar with the term package. Package is actually a collection of class and interface and sub packages. But as of now, you just think like, because the other terms you are not knowing, interface as well as the sub packages. So you just think like package is just a collection of classes as of now. Okay. So package is Java is actually Java is a by default package which was present already in the running environment. So system.out, you need not include any of the header files or library files. By default, that will be available in the running environment. Okay. So we have written our first program. I will just try to explain it. Class welcome, then the class opening bracket and closing bracket. This is the first statement. Then inside that, as usual, you need to write the main function. So public static void main string arg, any string array name A. Inside that, again the function brackets are opening and closing. Inside that, you just try to print the message system.out.println. Okay. So this is the first program we were having. Now we were, so here see, I didn't include any of the data member variable, data functions, nothing. I was just added a printf statement just to print a message. Okay. If you want, you can note down, or even in the internet you search it, you will get so many codes. But I was trying to explain each and every time to an extent, because see, everything, even I can tell about public for more than 1 hour, I can tell about static more than 1 hour. I think it is included in half of the module itself, the static member variables and static functions in the OOC. So but I can just tell you, like, few functions may be common for all the objects that you can keep as static, so that you have already studied static variable in C for the count variable example. If you have studied it, you know that it will be keeping a single copy of the variable, so that whenever you are making updation on that variable, from wherever the position, it will be updating that particular location. In the same way, here also for all objects, if a function is common, then without creating objects itself, I can call that function. That's why we have kept it as a static. Then void main are already you are familiar. It is a return type and function name. And string args is the input parameter which can accept from the command line. It is called, it's a string array. By default, Java is expecting that in the main. Then system.out.println is just like your printf statement. Inside that, you can just mention you what is the statement you can write. Okay. So this is the statement. Then coming into the next one, actually the dog class I am trying to write. You can see the dog class. You can see the public class dog, class name is dog. This is the closing bracket of that. You can see the class is opening there, and this is the closing bracket. Okay, you can see the class name has started over here like this, public class dog that was opening, and here it is closing. And again, this is the main function you are having. We were discussed only about this much in the previous discussion. So that was a main public static void main. Inside that, few things are there. Let it keep it there. Before that, I want to tell you about the variables which was common for all the class. So I can just tell about the data part of my class. Here I have a string breed and string size and int age and string color. These are the data which was involved in the class to distinguish different dogs. And I am having one single function instead of that run, sleep, all the functions, just one function which is a get info function. So inside that some messages it was trying to print. Okay. Coming into the main, this is the main we were having. We'll see what is happening in the main. So actually what I should do, this is the template I have just declared, like in the dog class I am having these are the variables and I am having one function called getInfo. Now I should create actual existence of the object. 111 dog I should create. First I should create the object or the real time object for the black dog, then the white dog, then like that 111 I should create. So the syntax for creating an object is, the syntax for creating an object is class name, object name, object name. This is you need to remember new class name, functional bracket opening and closing, then semicolon. Okay, semicolon is also there. So this is the syntax. Class name, object name is equal to new class name, functional bracket opening, closing and semicolon. Here new is just for the memory allocation. Memory allocation. Okay. So this is the variables we were having. So syntax again I will. So for example, I want to create an object for the dog class. So how can I create an object for the dog class? Same syntax, you tell me what is the name of the class? Please unmute yourself and tell me. What is the name of this class? What I have written here. What is the name of the class? What is the name of the class? Dog. So I am creating an object for the class dog. Then object name. What is any variable name I can give as the object name? I am just keeping like our example O1. Dog O1 is equal to new. Again the class name I should write dog. Then the functional bracket opening and closing and semicolon. Okay. This is called as the class, like your class name you are having a function here, we are calling a function here, it is called as default constructor. This is called as default constructor. What is it you will see later. Now only the syntax. 1 minute. Hello. Okay, fine. So it's like it is called as default constructor. You can see the similar to your class name, you are calling a function. It is called as default constructor. What is it? You will see in your OOC class. As of now, you just study the syntax for creating the object. So class name, again object name, new class name, functional bracket opening and closing and semicolon. This will create a object. You see that is the same syntax has done here also. Dog, Maltese. Maltese is just a variable name like my O1. New dog. So it was creating the first object. Now for O1 we know that is the black dog. So how can I access these variables one by one? So as I mentioned you, the dot operator will be accessing the, by using the dot operator we can access the variable. So the object name dot breed, then the object name dot size, the object name dot age and object name dot color. These are the things we are assigning the values so that one object is creating here. This is creating the white dog. You can see the type breed is kept as Maltese and size is small and age is 2 and color is white. So it has created the second object. I considered it as first object, so I can just keep like O1 dot breed is equal to whatever the value I am having. Just write ABC. Then what is the O1 dot size is indicating the second, that black color dog, and size is large for it. The size compared to the other ones it is large. Then O1 dot age, what is it? Similarly O1 dot color. You should write A1 dot size also. sorry, color, what is it, age also, color is black. So like that, I can create another object which is representing that black dog. Now inside the system.out.println, I am calling the object name dot function. What is the function I am having? Getinfo is the function I am having. So the object name dot getinfo will be coming here. Inside that, the message, these message will be returning from the function. This is returning, so that message will be coming back here, and that will be printing by the system.out.println. Or even the same thing, instead of this return, you can just mention like system.out.println here itself, so that that particular message will be coming. So it's your choice. It's like system.out.println. Inside that, with the help of the object name, you are calling the get info. So multi subjects information will be printing here. If I am calling the same thing by using o1.getInfo, that is indicating like my black dog. So the details what I have set here, that details will be printing when I am calling this particular function. Are you clear with how can you write a class and how can you create an object? How can you assign values to the variables or the data parts involved in the class? How can you call a function? These are the things I have discussed. If anyone is having any doubt, please ask me. I will explain, because this is the most basic fundamental of Java. If you know these things, remaining all things will be easy. Are you clear? You need not worry about whether other people understood or not. You just tell me what is not, whether you understood or not. That was the point. Can I proceed? Okay. Okay, this is almost basic fundamentals I have covered, and one more point, one more function we will write. Till now, we have just explained about how can I print a message, how can I create a class, how can I access the data variables and functions of the class. This much things we have discussed. One more point, the most basic part I just skipped it. It is how can you read a value from the user. Which was the class or function we were using? Which was the function we were using in C programming language? By using which function you were scanf. How can you write a code corresponding to scanf in Java? That's what I'm trying to explain you. So class, I'm reading an input from the user. So I am just written the class name as input, and opening and closing bracket I put. After that, I am trying to write the statements one by one. Okay, just writing no class, nothing, the data member variables. Just to tell you, I am trying to tell you how can you read a data. So I am just writing only the main. You have to write public static void main. Mine I am just writing like this. Okay. Even inside that you will be having string that also. So entire thing will be like this. Okay. So inside that, how can you read a data? There are multiple ways you can read a data from the keyboard, and here I am trying to tell you the most easiest way. You will be studying about buffered reader, you will be studying about print stream reader, you will be studying about input output stream reader. So many things are there. So the easiest one what I felt is the scanner class. So that is I am creating. So you are having a class called the scanner. This is a class which is a predefined class present in a package called java dot util dot scanner. So what is it? Like your scanf, you have included hash include stdio.h or stdio.h you have included. In the similar case, here also it was the scanner is a predefined class, and it is coming from the utility package. Util is indicating a utility package, and package is a collection of classes as I have mentioned you earlier. So scanner is one of the class present in the utility package. So when you are using this by default classes, you have to include these packages into your file. Your file is the input file. So the class you have written, into that you need to incorporate this scanner class because it was written already in somewhere else. Where is that location? We have mentioned here, java dot util dot scanner. Okay, again semicolon is there. If you want to include this, you have to use the syntax import java.util.scanner. It is mentioning like you are importing this particular class into your file and the details will be writing over here. Okay, so import java.util.scanner is the class which is present, which was scanner is a class and util is the package. So inside the package, the scanner is one of the class that I am using over here. So I need to import that particular class into my file. As I mentioned, scanner is one of the predefined class. You need to create an object of this. So this is a class. So again, as I mentioned, scanner is a class. So again, it will have a set of data member variables as well as a set of data functions because that are included in every class. It contain a set of data things as well as a set of functions things. So how can I create an object of the scanner class? I have mentioned you how can you create an object of any particular class by the syntax. Now you tell me my class name is scanner. How can I create an object of the scanner? All of you write your output in the chat box. What is the instruction you have to use for creating an object of the class with the name scanner? We all have created an object for the dog class. Okay. Very good. Sachin has written like a scanner. Then inside that the object name, I can just create any object name. I am again writing object OB I am writing. Any variable name is fine. Then again new scanner. Inside that actually we have to mention also from where it should read the data. So you can write like a system dot in. It is mentioning like the standard input device, that is from the keyboard you take the data and store it in OC. Okay, so this is the scanner object you have created. Now as I mentioned, once I have created the object, I can access the data which was present in the scanner class as well as the functions which was present in the scanner class. Which all are the functions present? Which all are the functions present in the scanner class? I am just trying to write few functions which was already there in the scanner class. One is next and another one is next line and another one is next int. It's a single word. It's a single word, next int. Next is next float. Similarly, you are having next double, next long, next char. All those functions are predefined and these all functions are present in the scanner class. Okay, so when you want to read a integer value from the keyboard, you want to write system.out.println. You are asking the user enter an integer. Now how can you read the value? What is the object name you are having? These are the functions present and object is OB. How can I call the function? The function for reading integer is next int. Okay, the function for reading float value is next float. The function for reading character is next char. The function for reading string, two functions are there. One is next and another one is next line. Okay, this is for string. So here which value I am trying to read? Integer value. So what is the code I should write for reading for calling the function next int? Of course I need the object ob. That's why we have created the object ob. ob dot next int, which will give you the integer value what you have written from the keyboard, and that you can store in a normal integer variable. Int p is equal to ob dot next int. It is trying to read a value from the keyboard and storing in the variable p. Are you clear? Please give me response. Okay. So similarly, all of you write the code for reading a float value from the keyboard. Reading a float value from the keyboard. Which function I should call? Next float is the function. So I am just writing a float k is equal to ob dot next float. Okay, this is one thing. A minor thing also I want to tell you, that is the end of the discussion today's. How can you create an array in, this is the most fundamental things you need to understand. Whatever I have discussed is not too many things. It is the most fundamental things which is required for the Java programs execution. So even if you want to execute the first program in our programming lab, you need to have at least this much knowledge. Okay, so how can you create an array? How can you create an array? How you will be creating an array? For example, think about the situation. Till now I have discussed about 3 dogs, and I was trying to explain about I should create 3 objects for the 3 dogs, and each object what are the variables and what are the functions. These are the things I was discussed. So instead of that, if the question is for n different dogs, that n is how much we don't know. It may be 3, it may be 30, it may be 300. In that case, I need to allocate continuous memory locations, and in every location, I need to store the similar type of data. In that case, of course, I need an array for storing those objects. Okay. So first thing we will see how can we create an integer array in C. In C, you were having a syntax called int a of 20. It is indicating like a is the starting this one, and inside that you can store 20 integer values. So in the same way, here I am having, instead of integer value, I want to store each dog object. So as I mentioned you, O1 is the first dog object, O2 is the second dog object, and O3 is the third dog object, O4 is the fourth dog object. That is, all objects like O1, O2, O3, O4 is indicating a type of dog, a specific category of dog, and it has 4 parameters. Maybe that any one of the parameter may be differ. Okay, so actually it is distinguishing 4 real time real entities, that is 4 different dogs. It is indicating 4 different dogs. So this is what I need to create if the question is asking you to create n different dog objects. So in that case, you need to create an array, and in that array, in each location, you need to store 111 object. So first we will see how can you create an integer array in Java. So the syntax is little different. The syntax in Java for creating the integer array is int like the array name, again new int, inside the square bracket you have to mention what is the maximum size. So this is the syntax for creating an integer array with the name A, and so it is indicate new, as I mentioned, it is for the memory allocation. So int A new int 20 is indicating like integer, you are having an integer array which can store 20 elements at a time. Okay, so this is the first part of the syntax you need to remember. Then in the same way, how can I create an array for storing objects in each of this location? So an array which is storing objects in each of this location. Can anyone please tell me how can we write the same thing? What may be the data type? This is for the dog objects I want to store. The dog object I want to store. So can anyone please tell me what may be the data type? Very good, Sachin. So Sachin was telling, when I was mentioned like class definition, I already told you like it is a user defined data type. So instead of data type, the class name you can use, because again class is also a user defined data type. So dog, then again a square bracket is equal to new dog, again square bracket with a maximum size 20. So this will be creating an object. In each of this location, if you want to create an object, in each of this location I want to put an object, I can just write like a of 0 is equal to a new dog. So this is for creating the object, correct? This is for creating the object new dog, that is object name, object see how class name, object name is equal to new class name, then the functional bracket. This was for the creation of object. So one object I created, I added in a of 0 location. Again another object if I want to add into the next location, again I can write the same statement. This is for the object creation, this is for the object creation, and this is for the array creation. So array has created, and in each of this location if I want to create O1 is putting in the 0th index, and in the first index O2 is putting. So again one more object is created and added. Okay, this is all the basic information I have shared you. Now only thing is pending is you have to explore what all are the things is required. I will just show you. Eclipse is one of the platform or IDE you can use. Eclipse is one of the IDE you can use. System is a little slow. I can type in the chat box. I will type it. Eclipse. You can download it. Eclipse. Okay. So you just Google it. Eclipse. The based on your Windows what platform you require. So in that particular platform, what is the thing like? For example, what is your operating system? Based on that, the Eclipse version will also vary. So search for the version what is compatible for your system. So search it in Google, download it. It is just an exe file. How the normal software installation happens, in the same way you install it. So that is one single. So this is the environment you are getting it. This is the environment you are getting it. If you are opting for the Eclipse environment, this is the environment. I think it is visible for you. When you open the screen, this is the thing you are getting for the first time. More other than Eclipse, there are multiple IDEs which will be supporting. Even you can try for the Visual Studio, or you can study for try for NetBeans. That is little more easier, I felt. But little standard one is Eclipse one, mainly for web application and all. Even the Java based one we can do in Eclipse. That's why most people will be preferring Eclipse. So we can also do the same thing in Eclipse, because anyway platforms doesn't matter much. You can run the same thing in the browser also. If somebody is not having laptop or some other constraints you are having, you can even Google it in the browser for taking Java compilers, online Java compiler. The browser itself will support it. So you can try whichever way you can execute the program, but please make sure that all of you try today with one or two simple programs. Mm, the system is a little slow. You have to wait. I will share you one more link, which is, see, still if you
Excuse me,
have,
ma'am.
ask Sadish.
Ma'am, that publishing get information function, the return is there.
Hello?
Can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes, Sadish, tell me.
Why do we use that plus symbol that while that return the statement, ma'am?
Which plus symbol?
In the return statement, breed is colon then
That
there's a
is for string concatenation. Okay, that is for
yeah.
string concatenation. Like, see, uh, see, where is that code? When I am coming to that one, I will tell you. I will show it
Yeah,
while
fine.
running. It is actually string concatenation. Concatenation. Two multiple strings you want to add together, you can add plus symbol. Just this is one simple program. I think this is the welcome message thing. So here I will just show you how can you create a function project first. From the file, you click a file. A file new. Inside the new, you can go for a Java project. If it is a 32-bit machine, no need to worry. Directly you can create a project. Java project automatically will be creating. But if it is 64-bit machine, you need to create a package before starting the class. I will show you how it is. So here the file new Java project I have taken. So the Java project name you can give. So I am just writing like C section. That is the project name. So after that, I can just click on this finish button. Click on the finish button. So you can see here a C section came here. You can see in the project explorer, the package explorer, you can see a C section project has created. Inside that SRC will be there. Go to that SRC folder. Right click on the SRC. Right click on this SRC and add new, and there you add a package. So the package name you can keep anything. I am just writing the package name as P3. So finish. Again inside the P3 you can again right click the P3 and then new and go to class. There you can add the name of the class. The class name I am just adding you demo. Then after that, here you will be having an option of, if you want to include the public static void main by default, you can click over here and finish. So you see the message already came over here, public static void main demo. By default, the string message also came. You can just write the system.out.println, system.out out dot println inside that you can add any value. Okay, so the message came. So the code and entire thing of the first program has written. This is the green colored one is the run button. You can click over there. So it is asking you whether you want to run this. Click on yes. You can see the message came here, welcome to Dalab. Okay, so that was the first thing. And second, for the input reading, as I mentioned to you, I have written the code already. We have included the scanner class, and then we created the objects for the scanner class and variables, one integer, float and string I want to read. So for that I have created variables. Then by using the next, it was coming to str. Then by using int, it is coming to the num variable. How can I read the value? I was showing you. And the next float, it will be reading the value from the float value. So if I am running this, enter the string, the message is coming. So I am just entering some string and enter the integer. I am entering integer value. Enter the float value. Float value, if I am entering 77.9. So that is coming. One more time I will run, and instead of string I am giving something else. What will happen, we'll see. And string I have given for instead of integer, again I am giving a string, but my function is expecting, because here I have given it is for reading the integer value. So in this case you can see an error has or exception has thrown over here, no such element exception. So if it was expecting an integer, but what you have given is a string value. So if you have written as an integer, of course you have to go for integer thing. Okay, you have to only give integer value. Okay, that is one thing. Then we are going with the this dog example. So these are the variables or data variables I have declared. Already the code I have explained to you, and this is what the plus symbol you have asked me. So breed will be having a specific value, and this is the string you were having. So both the things you are concatenating, and all together as a single string, it should come out from this function, because the return type of the getInfo function is a single string. So what you need to do, by using the string concatenating operator, you can add the values one after the another, and all together this as a single string will be returning from the function, and that will be coming into the system.out.println. Here that information will be printing. Are you clear, Satish?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we can run this. multi-size is small. This is the value we have set for that particular object, and that object only we are calling the information printing. Okay. Okay. So that's all. This much only. I think I have shown you how can you do this. Remaining time, along with me in this lab, actually Abhishek sir is also there. So we both will be handling this lab. So Abhishek sir will be, if you can try to download, and I think one more thing I want to tell you regarding the virtual labs. If you have any theoretical concept doubt regarding the so much stuff. Okay, fine. Hmm. Actually, the virtual LAN link I will post you, so that actually it is the platform which was provided by IIT Delhi for the basics of all the lab experiments. Even last time also we were having in the data structure lab. So similarly, actually the basic information was sharing. So this is the link. I will post it in the chat box. So actually it is giving you a set of basic programming knowledge. Still, if you have any confusion regarding the basics, I am recommending you to go through the materials. The link is already posted in the chat box. You can access that details from there. Otherwise, you can try to incorporate or try to download the things, and you can continue with at least 2 or 3 experiments you need to do today. Whatever I have shown the simple things, you do also try to do the same, and you will get a basic idea about what is an object. You practice it once, otherwise even if you are seeing the syntax, like you may not be able to find out what is there. Okay. Answer your attendance. 123,
Present, ma'am.
124,
Present, ma'am.
125,
Present, ma'am.
126,
Present, ma'am.
127,
Present, ma'am.
128,
Present, ma'am.
129,
Present, ma'am.
130,
Present, ma'am.
131,
Present, ma'am.
132,
Present, ma'am.
133, 133, 134,
Present, ma'am.
135, 135, 136,
Present, ma'am.
137,
Present, ma'am.
139, 8, 138,
Present, ma'am.
139,
Present, ma'am.
138, 140.
138 present, ma'am.
Then who is
140
139?
present.
139. Okay. 140, 141. Up to which number? 141, 142,
Present, ma'am.
143,
Present, ma'am.
144, 145. I think over. 145, 146, Up to what number this batch? Any idea? 145, 146, 147, anyone? Did I call everyone's name? Okay. How are you guys? Till 144. Okay, Shahir. Okay. How are you guys? Are you safe? Okay, all of you, please take care of your health. Don't go outside anyway, only online class. Maximum what is possible, you do. Okay, all of you can implement the same.